So you've decided to go study overseas for graduate school and you're getting your documents ready, but there's this thing called an SOP or a statement of purpose. Maybe you're not sure how it's different from your CV, you're not sure how you should write it. If that's the case, don't worry, because in today's video, I'm going to be going over some practical tips that will help you write an impactful SOP and stand out from the pack. Hey guys, I'm Zane. I'm a PhD in the social sciences. I teach English for academic purposes, academic research skills, and I help students study overseas for undergraduate and graduate programs. So first of all, you're probably wondering, what exactly is an SOP? How do you write it? What should it include? And how it should be different from a CV? Basically, an SOP is a 500 to 1,000 word document that, as the name suggests, tells your purpose for attending this program. So SOPs are usually for graduate programs like master's or PhD programs, and they're telling the application reviewer what it is about this university or this program that you want to, that makes you want to study there. What is your motivation for doing this program? So in this document, you shouldn't just be listing out experiences that you've had, characteristics that you've had. It's more than that. You want to actually tell the reader why you want to do this program. The first tip I like to give everyone is to make a list of your relevant interests, experiences, and aspirations. So before you even start writing anything, I want you just to make a list in bullet point format of things that you've done up until now in your school life, in your work career, even extracurricular activities, anything that you think might be relevant to point out in the SOP. Now, if you have any volunteer experiences like that you've had through hobbies, sports, studying abroad, or you're just interested in anything for that matter, and you think it's somehow relevant to the story that you want to tell in your SOP, you should probably just write it down. Just write down anything that you think might possibly be of interest, and then later on, what you can do is come back, go through the list again, try to draw connections between them, and make and kind of filter out the ones that you want to keep and the ones you want to exclude. It's also important to think about things that are not included in your CV. A key tip is to try to not recap your CV in the SOP. So unlike a CV, which is actually just a list that isn't in a paragraph format, an SOP is in a written paragraph format. It's like a short paper. It usually has maybe 3, 4, 5 paragraphs on the long side, that is, and you want to really kind of show something special and kind of explain in a little more detail what you want to do. Your CV doesn't tell everybody necessarily what you want to do. It tells about your past experiences in a kind of structured format. Now, your SOP is an opportunity to do something different. So you want to kind of think of ideas that would be relevant in that. So let's just think of a couple examples here. Maybe when you were in university, you worked part-time. Maybe you worked at a bank, or you worked at a food company. In high school, you volunteered at an elderly home, or you volunteered on a farm, or you did some kind of special program during the summer. For those of you who already have your undergraduate degree and are applying to a master's degree or another advanced degree, you might want to think, what did you participate in when you were in university? Were you in any special clubs? And even outside of that, did you have any other personal interests that were somehow related or unrelated with your major in university? That could be something that you could kind of make a connection to the program that you want to study for your master's or PhD. As you're making your list, I want you to think about what skills or attributes we can associate with that experience. Let's say, for example, you worked as an intern for a finance company. We could put in parentheses next to that financial literacy. Or perhaps for a university course you took, you did a mock startup. We could put entrepreneurship next to that one. If you volunteered, maybe next to that we could put community engagement or leadership. They usually like to hear things like that. Maybe you studied abroad in Australia for a year. You could write international perspective or intercultural communication, something along those lines. And maybe you even have an interest in gardening or farming or something, and you could even just write that as personal interest, or maybe even a startup idea. Now for the second step, what I want you to do is to do a little research about the university, the program, and what it's all about. Remember, when you're studying overseas, guys, you're not studying in a country. I want you to get this mindset right. You're not studying in the United States or studying in the UK or wherever. You're studying in a university in a specific program. So when you speak to professors or university administrators, they're not thinking you're coming to whatever country they're in to study. They're thinking about you're coming to our school. You're coming to our program. So when you're writing the SOP, write it in the frame that you're applying to a program. You're applying to a department in a university, not a country. The reason is because that's just too general. And you want to be specific in your SOP. What is special about them and their program and their university? What attracted you about that university? It's not good enough to just say that it's a good university or you heard good things about it. You want to show the university and the reviewers that you know something about them. They appeal to you in some way. And if you do a little research and you get a general idea about what they're doing, what kind of research they specialize in, what topics that they're the strongest in, you want to come across that you know this and that's why you're applying. It really gives a good impression. Coming to our third step, we have to frame our expectations and purpose for applying to this program. So in this part, you'll have to really ask yourself the question seriously. Why do I want to study this program? Why do I want to go to this university? Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? The answer to these questions are going to help guide your writing for this SOP. What you don't want to do, and this is an important one, you do not want to give generic answers. Oh, I want to work for a big financial firm in the future. That's too general. We want something more specific, more centered on you and how you're cultivating yourself, how you're building up your knowledge and skills, and most importantly, how are you making a contribution to the university, to the society, in anything like that. And remember, if you mention any of those personal interests or hobbies that we mentioned earlier, like the farming or gardening thing, it has to be relevant, it has to click, it has to make sense with your overall story. It's great to mention extracurricular activities and things that seem a little bit unrelated with what you majored in, but it has to have a connection with your goal and your purpose. This one might be a tough nut to crack, but if you can get it right, it'll really form the foundation for your SOP. Now for step 4, what I want you to think about is how you can frame your contribution. So you attending this program isn't all about you. You also want to make it about the university. You are going to be a member of their program and of their department, and you want to show what you're bringing to them, how you are contributing value and diversity to their program. This is something that we also want to do when you're writing a cover letter for a job. You want to show how you can contribute and provide value to the employer. This also relates with the second tip in doing research about the program and the university. If you know about what they're doing, what they're working on, maybe the university or maybe their department has some kind of special initiative that they're working on, if you're aware of that and show how you can contribute to that and be a part of that, they will absolutely love the sound of that. That will be music to their ears, and you will definitely catch their attention. And finally, the 5th step is to bring it all together and actually write the SOP. So you have to take the information, take what you've listed out on the side from the previous steps, and structure it into a 500 to 1,000 word document. 1,000 words is probably a little bit on the long side. I think maybe 600, 700, 800 words should be just about right. You don't want to make it too lengthy. It would be better to have a solid 550 words rather than 800 or 900 words of fluff. So it's probably best to keep it slim. Writing an SOP is going to be like writing any other paper. It should have an introduction, a main body, and a conclusion. So the main body should include a few points from that list that we made earlier that you should be filtering out. You can't include everything since there are space constraints, so you want to think strategically and carefully which of those things in your experiences that you can include in your main body to kind of bring it together in the conclusion and arrive at the reason why you will be a member of this program. Like any other paper, your introduction should have something that catches the reader's attention right off the bat. It should definitely not start with something like, hello, my name is, I'm from wherever. You don't want any of that, guys. You want something catchy. You want something smart. You want something that clicks. As you're writing your main body and devoting one paragraph each to one of your past experiences, you might want to also connect it with the main purpose. Connect each of those experiences and interests with your main purpose. Remember, that purpose is core to this whole SOP. It brings everything together. It's kind of like the glue that holds all of these experiences and interests that you have and you're talking about together. And last but not least, that brings us to the conclusion. The conclusion is where you should be talking more about where you see yourself in the future. What are your expectations for this program? What are you looking forward to? And of course, why you are a great fit for their program. My last bit of advice is that as you're writing this, you should adopt the mindset that a graduate program's value is really as good as the time and effort you invest in it. Really keep that in mind. It's not simply a means to a diploma and a means to a job, because a graduate program is really a learning experience, and you really want to make your intentions clear in this SOP and show the reviewers what you hope to get out of the experience. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I'm going to be making more videos talking about SOPs and applications in addition to writing papers. If you're getting ready to apply for a program or you're already in a graduate program, I think you'll be interested in the content that I'm going to be putting out. So I'd really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel just so you can keep informed on when I release my next videos. For a more detailed description, you can also check out the blog post that I have outlining these very tips that I just talked about in this video, and I'll be putting a link to that right below. Take care, guys. I'll be seeing you in the next video.